So, this is my profile again for that would be me, Wesley Perez. Um, this is the Xbox. It's not the 360 controller actually that I was talking about earlier. This one is the Xbox One S. As you can tell, it has like these really cool you should consider actually getting one just because of this controller. It looks really cool. It doesn't look like a PS4 controller at all. You gotta open the back here. Let me open it for you. Um, you open it like that, and I have these I recommend getting these Amazon basic batteries for the controller. I used to use the Duracell ones for my controllers for video games, but I figure those are like really powerful AA batteries, so I just got these basic ones, and I'm looking at my Xbox One right now. Of course, you gotta turn it on here. It lights up, and then I have Kingdom Hearts. I think it's the third one. Um, I'm in the general settings, like where you could uh, look at your network settings. Let me check that out. It looks like I'm connected. I'm given the option to disconnect if I wish, but usually with the Game Pass, you're supposed to stay online, and that's how you get your games. Um, Let me add some more lighting. You could even add family settings to this. Um, you don't really have to check for updates much. I'm pretty sure it does that on its own, or it lets you know if a game needs an update. I'm pretty sure all systems do that. Um, I'm looking at the Quantum Break uh, app right now. It's ready to start. It just needs like about 20% more to install the next set of episodes. I have Fable Anniversary, Ninja Gaiden 2, Resident Evil 5, Metal Gear Solid, the HD edition. That one's a good game because actually I played that game. I have lots of memories of playing Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 on the PlayStation 2, and then it came to the Xbox 360. It's now on the Xbox One. I really recommend getting that one because for all the Metal Gear Solid fans, that's really a must play through. Metal Gear Solid 2 especially, and Metal Gear Solid 3 is not as cool, but I guess like they went with like a more survival approach. That was the first time they did that. You gotta like eat snakes and like find fruits and stuff like that. It's kind of a funny idea, but I personally like Metal Gear Solid 5 actually. It's very World War based, like outposts. You gotta infiltrate outposts. You gotta be careful if people are watching you from their searchlights or spotlights or whatever they call those, and you just go for it really, and it's kind of easy. It's a piece of cake. Let me look at my games and apps. I got groups that I bought the Phantom Pain, Kingdom Hearts 3, and then I bought the digital Resident Evil 5. The Division 2 came with my Xbox One S, and it was supposed to come with Star Wars, the Jedi, the Fallen Order, but whoever made the Xbox One S or whoever issued me this one, they forgot to put the game included with the Xbox One S, so they figured they just throw in the Division 2. That's an equally good game. Rise, Son of Rome, that one's a good one too. I got Ninja Gaiden 2. That one's a lot of blood and gore. And as you can tell by the number 2 that's spelled at the title, it's like written in like scathed 2 claws in blood. And Fable Anniversary, that one's kind of funny because if you headshot someone in that game with a bow and arrow, surprisingly their head falls off when you shoot them with an arrow. I'm not quite sure how that makes sense. I mean, I've seen lots of movies with like The Lord of the Rings where they get shot in the head um, with a bow and arrow, and usually that never happens where the head just falls completely off. But that happens in this game, Fable Anniversary. Uh, I also have this game called The Gardens Between. Um, it's about slowing down time. It runs on an island or something, and you're with your partner. Um, and You just slow down time. It's a puzzle game. It's like a mousetrap, and you just kind of circle the camera around the island, and you have to find the right trigger to enable you to continue to the next set of portals. Or it runs like on like a small pond of memories with you and this teenager, and they're both teenagers, and they're trying to get off of this island, or they're experiencing some type of high, and they're trying to get through it or whatever, and and it's really fun. I would recommend getting that game if there's nothing else to download. Um, but everything else, like Metal Gear Solid, like they talk a lot about the history of America and the Soviet Union and places all around the world, and it's mostly about missiles and like shipping missiles across overseas, and people are obtaining these missiles that weren't supposed to have those missiles, and people are making these secret weapons, and it's up to Snake to investigate and gather information in this Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater installment, and of course you play as the big boss. It must have been like when Ocelot was a lot younger, like maybe in his 20s or something like that. And as you can see in Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, they're all grown up. And of course, Snake still has his beard, though he's not called Snake, he's actually called the Big Boss. And uh, I have Quantum Break, I already said that. I have Resident Evil 5, I already said that. I have Fable Anniversary, I already mentioned that. Ninja Gaiden 2, I mentioned that that has a lot of blood and gore. I already mentioned Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. The Garden Between, I already mentioned that one, and I already mentioned Rise Son of Rome. I was so excited when Rise Son of Rome was available to install in the Game Pass, because that was like one of the first games that was available for the Xbox One, and everybody was really excited when that game came out. And of course, there's all these apps at like it comes with a mixer, a Game Pass, a Microsoft Edge. It comes with settings. You can make some kind of events featuring beta. I'm not quite sure what that means. You can make your own community. That's all really pointless. All of this stuff is really useless. Of course, you need the Xbox Assist if you need any help. There's the Xbox accessories. I'm pretty sure you can link this thing to your some kind of Xbox Connect, where it comes with a camera and a motion detector. But that's not really for me. Instead, I got this. Let me put this controller down. Instead, I got this a selfie. What are those things called? A selfie stick. I bought one of those off Amazon. It's gonna come in the mail, and the thing with packages that come, or parcels that come in the mail, is that you gotta be really careful with those. You gotta handle them with rubber gloves, so that you're not infected with the C virus or whatever they call it. on the news this morning, there was all this light protesting of I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with. I think his name is Floyd. He died because he was complaining that he couldn't breathe. Um, uh, well, I guess it's more personal than that between cops and African males. I guess you got to be really careful being a black person walking around these days. They got to stick together, I guess, and I guess you can't really trust anybody, um, especially the police. I'm pretty sure people have families that are police members, um, and it was all over the news. People were protesting even last night. They were looting stores. There was lots of looting. There was even like shoes on the pavement of people that didn't want some shoes. Um, it was all really terrifying. It's like a bad dream. It's like a nightmare right now. Though I'm pretty sure it's gonna boil over soon. I'm pretty sure that's all they got is just looting stores until they're empty. You just gotta worry about the cleanup, and well, somebody has to do it. So I mean, if I was out there, I guess um, uh, I wouldn't like complain or anything. I would just clean the place up, and people just like to. We have to learn as American citizens that people just like to gather in groups most of the time, and no matter where you can find your friends, everybody likes to get together and everybody likes to have fun. Even if people get hurt, um, I'm pretty sure that's um, some of their way of their sick way of letting off some steam. Um, though there has to be some kind of consequence. Being adults, uh, we all have to learn to I guess find some kind of balance in between violence and peace. And though it's really taken lightly with youngsters that really like to go shopping, because all of this is really because of young adults who like to frequently go out to spend their money on gasoline. They like to visit liquor stores and AMPMs, and then they like to go to the mall and I don't know. They like to go to Starbucks and wait in line and become a problem with whoever sells coffee. It's really stupid, but I mean, if you could imagine your stepbrother or your stepsister or whoever your family might be, uh, they're really behaving like big babies, and uh, actually, when you come to think of it, there is something that we can do. It's just we got to keep it a secret, and we got to keep it a secret from them. And no matter how loud they want to be, I'm pretty sure we have medicine and weapons, and I guess just stay really original with it, and and that's not all. That's not all I have to say. I mean, I also like to talk about other things like I have a morning routine. So I eat breakfast, I shave, I comb my hair, I make sure my face is clean, I wash it, and then I take a shower or whatever. But not in the mornings. Usually I wait till later in the afternoon because of those small deodorants that have the 40, 40 plus hours on it. They give you to apply it and wash it off. So I abide by those set of rules. I'm pretty sure everybody does, though. I'm not tired of it. You don't see me like yelling or anything on videos. I wouldn't recommend videotaping like uh, a selfie with me complaining and making faces or grimaces that I'm a disgruntled person. I do suffer from a disease and depression, so I don't really hold it in. I just talk about it, and nobody's really confronted me about it because, uh, quite frankly, they don't know. Um, so I do own I am a happy owner of a Fire Stick. It's this thing here. Um, it's got a few buttons on it. It's really small. It's really thin. Um, Actually, if you see the infrared there, uh, I'm not quite sure why it's there. I'm not sure if you can see it or maybe that's just the camera, but it's a wireless controller. You just kind of point, click. It gives you around 10 seconds to skip videos and to chop it up whatever you want, however you like the video. It's really simple. It's really easy to use. It's kind of funny the way they included this feature where you could chop up the scenes into 10 seconds or more or less, however you want it. Uh, it makes for a very entertaining view. I watch it all the time with my stepdad, and uh, actually the one that bought this Fire Stick, if you could look closely at it, there's like a small smirk at the bottom. I thought that was a really interesting touch by the company Amazon. You could see their van all over when they drive around making shipments and deliveries. I'm really excited that my mom asked me if I could go work with my uncle or my tío. He lives in like Fullerton or somewhere like around there, in that area at a restaurant for Mexican food. I'm probably gonna work there, and for a little bit, maybe like a few hours. I'll put in a few hours, and I wouldn't mention where the address is, where it is exactly, because um, I wouldn't want the place to get crowded with like customers or fans or anything like that. Um, though that would be a really interesting idea. I mean, I'll think about it, but honestly, you're really not supposed to put like your personal information on these type of videos, like where you are and where your residence is, because it's really private. Bad stuff does usually tend to happen, like people show up and they steal your car. That's happened to me before, but I got my car back, and whoever was driving it wasn't supposed to be driving it because it wasn't theirs. It wasn't really angry. It's just it's very judicial. It's just plain and simple. It's just you don't got to do much thinking about it. You don't got to talk about it. Sometimes it's best is your presence does most of the talking. No matter what color you are. I heard this one expression where like you're not supposed to wear red in the jungle, but I mean, most of us have a sense of humor. Um, uh, Sometimes that's all we have to wear, and I personally have this chain to for intimidation. It really scares most adult males. Though they don't talk about it. They just leave it up to the television to do most of the talking, and that's just how it is in America. Um, I do have tattoos on my face here. Like that's a small square. I thought it's kind of cute. I put it there. Um, I have one here on my hand. It says it's a spider, and it says I'm not quite sure if you can read that, but it says death on it. I got the idea from a Twisted Metal Black, the PlayStation 2 game. It's gonna be my nephew's birthday soon. In this month of this coming month, or I think the month has already started. It's June already. So it's summer. It's I guess time to jump in the pool. I guess. Though for me, Amazon is waiting until like much later in the summer or like in the middle of summer to issue me my swim trunks. I looked everywhere for swim trunks like Target and Walmart, Big Five, and most of the collection is like really like silly. Um, though I would purchase my swim trunks on Amazon because uh well I guess I guess it's they have a better selection there. Um, and I'm not too worried about my physique because I do on the weekends I have a protein shake, so I have strength for most of the week. Though I don't need a personal trainer to tell me that because as a adult male, we pretty much already get the idea, like how many reps we're supposed to put in, uh, the pace, social distancing. We don't really need a boss to tell us that. Though some people feel obligated to tell us certain things of like where we should be and where we should stand. We just have to be patient with them, and it eventually overcomes them. Uh, though you could go on you can make a lecture about people like that. Though you don't want to point them out, you just kind of you get to speak freely about it in America. That's why they call it the freedom of speech. And and yeah, that's pretty much how it is. Um, that's pretty much how it is. Growing up in America, I used to live in Walnut, where I got into lots of trouble because to be quite honest, before 2012, everybody had this notion that the world was going to end, so there was a lot of partying and there was a lot of celebration. And I'm not quite sure whose idea it was, or if it was like race related or anything like that. But I did do some history, some research on it, and I'm pretty sure you could do your own research. I don't have to say it. You just type keyword 2012 and a list of stories comes up about like the apocalypse and how it was supposed to happen that year. I was really disappointed that nothing happened because I was a big fan of the movie Independence Day, where they stood on the tower of on top of like Empire State, I think it was. It was some kind of tower in New York City where there was like an alien on top of the building, and all these protesters were up there wanting to be abducted. And instead of being abducted, the aliens killed them. That was kind of a sad story. It was about the 4th of July, Independence Day. I'm pretty sure if you own the VHS copy, it comes with a small slip uh, that's very like a artsy touch. You just flip it around, and this image comes out with like the White House being destroyed by a UFO or like a mothership. Um, but yeah, that movie was with Will Smith in Independence Day, and I'm not quite sure who else was in the movie, but one of the other actors was in the movie Casper. He played as the father of one of the actresses' name was Christina Ricci, and she was in the movie. I was a real big fan of hers. I like the movie Casper. I also like the movie growing up. I like Casper Meets Wendy with Hilary Duff. I thought they were really funny. The Olsen twins, those were funny people. Um, um, I am an owner of a set of a pair of Vans for the shoes. I used to shop at the Vans shop at not the actual store, but like the because they have like a store. They have their own store, and they have a store in the Brea Mall. And if you go in, they have like all this really neat stuff. Um, and you could become a member or something. But right now is not a good time because of the C virus. Everybody's staying inside. I'm pretty sure everybody's doing the same thing I am, where they're just recording and venting, or if they're not venting on cell phones, they're talking to their loved ones. They're playing video games, probably reading books, but I'm pretty sure that has gone to kind of a spiral downfall, reading books, because ever since the C virus, people were reading books while everybody was out shopping, doing their own thing. But now that everybody's inside the house, now there's all these frequently asked questions like, why are you reading? Or like, why can't I go out? I'm old enough to do whatever I want. You could imagine like an adult saying that, or like your grandparents saying that, or something like that. That's something like a grandparent would say. Um, though they came up with all these things that like young adults, stereotypes of young adults, and like how they live, but honestly, we all live the same way of life. We all live under the same sun, in the same system. There's not really much science to it. There's just I don't run into many problems really, because it's based really on the way you're dressed, how clean you keep yourself, and really that you hang out with no one, and you just gotta be true to yourself. Uh, if you could imagine the way Snoop Dogg puts it, I'm a real big Snoop Dogg fan, not just because of his music, but what he went through personally, and like the way he keeps things real cool, even during tribulations. And I guess you got to respect him for that, during these sad times. Um, um, and I guess that's really why I'm filming this video, is just to vent, really. There's really no point to these videos. I just like to express that I'm real excited some days that I get to order from Amazon certain things. I'm trying to watch the money that I spend by my mother tells me that I should watch the money I spend by not playing too many video games, not watching too much television, that I gotta read more. But I figured reading is on the television, so it's pretty much the same thing. Everybody has a story to tell. I'm not quite sure what's the big deal with if it's on a pixelated plasma TV, and what's the difference between it written on paper. Um, there's really no big difference. Um, um, I am kind of disappointed that like the people that made video games like Xbox One and Nintendo, they didn't really distinguish their buttons with the X, the Y, the A and B. A and B started with the Nintendo, and then later the Xbox 360 came out. They inserted the Y, and the PlayStation 2 came out. They inserted the X, and really all three companies, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, they kind of blended in all the buttons together to not really to confuse the gamer, but to kind of see it like this, and kind of turn it. Your fingers. See how I flip it and it looks like some kind of origami? It looks like a company when I hold it like this. I'm pretty sure Will Smith has mentioned the triangle in Suicide Squad, but it wasn't really about a Phil Jackson or anything like that of basketball. It had to do with a remote control. So that's really that was uh, that was really it. That's where the idea came from, the triangle. It came from remote control, because if you look at the Fire Stick, it's like if you could find the infrared, or if I turn on the light again and the infrared comes out, it's sort of, it's very dismal. You can barely tell, but if you were into weapons, you would know how to aim um, infrared laser into a triangle and how you could squeeze a headshot from torso to the head. And that's really where the idea came from. Though a lot of people like to use it on everything, even sports, but it's really confusing. Though you got to be really analytical, and that's pretty much it. And other than that, I do own a DVD still, so I'm really old school. Um, the green one is to eject and open the tray.